FAA won't allow me. Yes, sir.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Officer Truman Fitzgerald with the Birmingham Police Department's Public Information Division. Thank you for attending this press conference where we will discuss the shooting of two of our firefighters a year ago, as well as the Jordan Melton homicide investigation. We are honored to have our mayor with us, Mayor Randall Woodfin. You will hear from him today, and afterwards you will hear from the Birmingham Police Department. At this time, Mayor Randall Woodfin.
Thank you, sir, and good morning, everyone. As stated, I am Randall Woodfin. I serve as mayor of the city of Birmingham. And I believe that the most powerful characteristic of a firefighter has to be their bravery. It takes bravery to commit your life to the mental and physical training needed to bear the title of firefighter. It takes a brave person to literally run head first into flames, putting your body and well-being at risk to rescue strangers. It takes a very powerful, brave soul to leave your family every day, knowing that you might not come home. Jordan Melton showed that bravery every single day. A young man who personified everything Birmingham Fire and Rescue stands for. Commitment to his community, selflessness, and again, bravery. When I received the call that we had lost Jordan, if I'm honest, I was in a lot of shock and pain. It does not compare to his mother or his family's pain. And as mayor, when the city hurts, I and our team often take on what we call the collective grief of our community. And the truth is, 1 year later, that pain is still here. That grief is even stronger for his family that he left behind. When I met with Jordan's mother after his passing, truly my heart was broken. Yet while I know that none of this could be possible related to the hurt that his mother has and his family has, it was she who became our light. Right then and there when I met her, she prayed with me. She prayed for the strength of our city, for resolution and swift justice for her son, and she prayed that her son's life would not be in vain, but a beacon of hope. The truth is, her strength is immeasurable. And she's the stock that Jordan's come from, as well as his entire family. And our hearts are still heavy, because I know that Jordan should be out here in the streets of Birmingham right now, making us laugh, protecting us. But even in his absence, through his mother and his family, he's still showing us the meaning of bravery. And that's the legacy he leaves with us today. Through his former co-workers, through his mother, through his entire family, through the community that will never forget his name. The bravery of a son, the bravery of a friend, and the bravery of a firefighter.
Thank you, Mayor. A year ago, on this very day, one of the most horrific crimes in the city of Birmingham's history was carried out, as on Wednesday, July 12th, 2023, just before 8:30 a.m., a gunman entered Fire Station 9 that sits on this quiet street in the Norwood community and shot two on-duty Birmingham firefighters. We quickly learned that those two firefighters were Jordan Melton and Jamal Jones. Birmingham Fire and Rescue personnel arrived and transported their brothers to UAB Hospital, both having suffered life-threatening injuries. Jordan Melton, the firefighter with the smile that would jump out of the photo at you, the firefighter who had a childhood dream of not only becoming a firefighter, but dreams of becoming the fire chief, would later succumb to those injuries at the age of 29. Jordan gave his life to the career he loved, and he gave his life to our beloved city. Jamal Jones would go on to be released from the hospital. However, he has suffered life-altering emotional and physical injuries. On this day, 1 year later, we choose to honor the life and legacy of Jordan Melton. And we stand here before you in pain. We stand here before you frustrated. And we stand before you sickened, because a year later, we still have no one in custody. But it's important that we stand before you today for 3 reasons. Reason number 1, we're choosing to honor the life and legacy of Jordan Melton on this day. This week, we were blessed and privileged to talk with Jordan's mom, Dr. Rochelle Gaston Malone. And one word that stands out from that conversation is solidarity. You see, Jordan's mother, since the death of her son, has gone on a quest to not only be a voice for Jordan, but to be a voice for all homicide victims. Dr. Malone had one wish for us on this day, and she wished as a city we came together in solidarity, not just for Jordan, not just for her baby, but for all homicide victims, as we seek justice for Jordan and those homicide victims. Since that horrific day, the Birmingham Police Department has been committed at holding the pure evil responsible for that day and bringing them into justice. We want our community to know that we have devoted countless hours in this investigation. We have tapped into our partners, local, state, and federal, and we have tapped into our relationship and partnership with the Jefferson County District Attorney's Office. The lead detective in this case is experienced. The lead detective in this case is methodical. And the lead detective in this case has been described by our very own Jefferson County District Attorney's Office as an investigator who leaves no stone unturned in his investigations. But Birmingham, he needs you. We need you. Which leads us to our 3rd reason. This is a public plea from the Birmingham Police Department. Anyone with information on who did this to our firefighters, on who took Jordan away from us, we want you to know Crime Stoppers is an excellent resource for you to remain anonymous, and there is a $46,000 cash reward in this investigation. There is a $46,000 cash reward for tips in this investigation. The Birmingham Police Department has a statement that we make after every open homicide investigation is recapped. And that statement is often, these cases are solved by tips from viewers like you. And in this case, we are hopeful and we are confident that someone out there will hold that statement to be true. Right now, we want to welcome any questions. We kindly ask that you be acknowledged before you ask your question. Yes, ma'am.
So when we spoke back in February of this year, you had said that there was more than one person of interest. Where are police at with that at this time?
That person of interest is still a person of interest, and we do believe that there's more than one. To go into a fire station in broad daylight and shoot 2 on-duty firefighters, that takes time, that takes planning, and just in our experience, we believe that that took more than one person. Yes, ma'am, Ms. Carroll.
Was the later, you have to have some idea of a motive. What was that motive? Have you considered that it had to do with Jordan being a witness in a murder case?
So we're going to break those questions down. As far as the suspect wearing a mask, we can't confirm any identifying information on a person of interest and or suspect. As far as motives, our detective unit has requested we don't release any motives or any ideas we have surrounding the motives. And as far as your third question about Jordan being a witness, we can confirm that Jordan Melton, along with many others, was subpoenaed for a murder trial here in Jefferson County. Yes, ma'am.
The chief in the past has stated that he believes this happened during shift change, that they came through a back door. For those that were not here on that day, walk us through the basics of what you believe happened on that day according to your investigation.
Yes, ma'am. So Jordan and Jamal had just began their shift that morning. And anyone who's familiar at the time with our fire stations, the bay doors are open because people walk to fire stations to get their blood pressure checked, and we just wanted to always keep that door open in case someone needed medical attention. This gunman entered those bay doors and fired rounds in this fire station. And let us point out, to us, this is just a fire station. This is where our firefighters work. But for Jordan and Jamal, this was their home. Firefighters have a unique schedule. They spend 24 hours a day at a fire station. So this place becomes a place of peace, a place of comfort for our firefighters. So this individual that's responsible for this is just as guilty as going into Jordan and Jamal's home and committing this heinous crime.
Was Jordan the intended target?
We're not releasing who we believe was the intended target. However, we can point out that we do believe this was a targeted attack, not associated with the two being employed as firefighters.
Former fire chief has stated to us in a sit-down interview that this was the worst day of his career. What assurances can you give that this is a crime that you are determined to get solved?
Well, first and foremost, government is the only thing that holds the lawful from becoming the lawless. If you look behind me, you see a fire truck. You see our firefighters. They are one of the most visible signs of government we have in our society. And we have to point out that just wasn't an attack on Jordan and Jamal. Whoever did this, they attacked the entire foundation that holds our city together. And you better believe we're going to deploy all resources. We're going to tap into all partnerships, and we're going to do everything we can to hold those responsible.
And were there
Yes, 1 second. Yes.
Is this an example of Birmingham police knowing who did it? We just don't have the evidence available at this moment to make an arrest?
This case is centered around evidence, not effort. Again, this case is centered around evidence, not effort. Our detectives, our department, our federal partners, the Jefferson County District Attorney's Office, we have put our all into this case. And right now, the center and the focus point of this case is on evidence. Yes, ma'am.
Speaking of evidence, I know there's a strong emphasis at this point a year later on getting the public's help. Is there anything you can release right now that can help the public, maybe jog their memory? Any cameras that picked up a possible vehicle, or the two people, Jones and the other firefighter that were here, that saw anything that might help people come forward?
Let us say this. There is no way that someone entered a fire station in broad daylight, shot two on-duty firefighters, killed one, a year later has evaded capture from the largest police department in Alabama, and has not bragged about that to someone. We live in a sick society today. We know people want attention for everything. And even our criminals want a pat on the back. We know the individual or individuals responsible for this have talked about it. That's just the sick society that we live in. So we're asking if anyone has information in this case, please come forward. I think Mayor Wolfen said it best. We have to stop offering safe harbor in our cities to those shooters. Yes, ma'am.
Why do you think no one has come forward with a $46,000 reward?
I think one, people are scared. However, we want to reassure the public in today's world, there's so many ways for you to remain anonymous. Crime Stoppers is one of those assets that we have at our disposal where someone can call in and remain completely anonymous.
Were there operating video cameras on that day that were working?
We are using technology to help us in this investigation. We don't want to go into the specifics. Yes, sir.
Did any of the evidence at that scene a year ago yield anything that's helped you on y'all's investigation, whether it be DNA from bullet casings, anything you can share with us at this time?
We will say that what our detectives have uncovered since that day have led us in the right direction. However, there's nothing more valuable in any criminal investigation than help from the public. Yes, ma'am.
Back to what I think Tristan asked, is it a case of we know who did this and we need more evidence to file charges, or you still don't know who the shooters are?
We're here today because of evidence. If we had all the evidence, if we had everything we wanted, we would have someone in custody. But what we want to remind the public is this case is not just about making an arrest. We want a conviction. Making an arrest is nothing if we don't solidify our case for a conviction in court. Yes, ma'am.
Do you have reason to believe that the people that are responsible for this shooting are still in the Birmingham area?
Unknown at this time. That's why we are pleading to the public. Please come forward with any information that you have. Yes, sir.
I spoke with Crime Stoppers yesterday. They say they received over 10 tips on this investigation. Has anything they've been able to share with police led to some help? Because again, that would imply the community has tried to help out on this case.
The community, like in many of our other homicides, have helped us, point us in the right direction.
To help out our viewers, can you give us just the bare minimum, the basics of what the suspect or suspect's vehicle looked like? A color, a make and model? Was it a truck? Was it a car?
So our reason for not releasing identifying information in any criminal investigation that we have, a detective has to ask the question, does the benefit of releasing identifying information on the suspect outweigh the risk of assisting that suspect evade capture and or conviction? This case is no different like many other cases. We feel as though if we released identifying information, it will hurt us more than it will help us. Any more?
I've got one more
Yes,
for
ma'am.
you. For someone to come in, first thing in the morning during a shift change at a fire station, that's a very bold, brazen act. Do you have reason to believe that the people who did this have committed other crimes here in the city of Birmingham since a year ago?
I'm so glad you asked that. Birmingham has a history of shooters repeating their crime. The mayor and I can probably give you about 5 names off the top of our head of individuals who have gone on to commit other crimes. Let us point out a case that is important for us to point out in this investigation. 2-year-old Major Turner was shot and killed in our city in February 2021. That case, like this case, went on over a year without being solved. The person who was accused of shooting 2-year-old Major Turner went on to be accused of killing someone else within a year from being accused of killing Major Turner. That's why it is so important and it is crucial that anyone with information on the shooter in this investigation or any investigation that is ongoing in our city to come forward, because we know for a fact victimizers will continue to victimize. Yes, ma'am, and we'll set up for the last few questions. Yes, ma'am.
Again, though, to clarify, this was personal, correct? This was not a robbery. This was not somebody angry at the fire service as a whole.
Yes, ma'am. We do believe this was a personal attack. We do not believe this was associated with Jordan or Jamal being employed as firefighters. Last questions, anyone? Thank you so much, everyone, for y'all and for being a voice for Jordan and Jamal. Thank you.